A 100,000-ton carrier doing 30 knots is not a hard target to find. It's a hard target to hit, and the reason has almost nothing to do with the missile's cruise phase. The engineering fights on a modern anti-ship missile are won or lost in the last 40 kilometers. That's where the seeker stack earns its cost. So let's open it up. You already know proportional navigation. You know the missile flies a collision course, not a pursuit curve. What you may not know is how brittle that geometry becomes when the seeker can't decide which return is the carrier. Start with the cruise phase, because we need to get it out of the way. After launch, the missile is flying on inertial navigation corrected by GPS where available, with a preloaded carrier datum. That datum is stale the moment it's loaded. A carrier moving at 30 knots travels nearly a kilometer per minute. Over a 400-kilometer engagement, your aim point can be 50 kilometers off where you thought it was. So the missile flies to an updated basket, not a point. Mid-course updates from the launch platform, a satellite, or a third-party node shrink that basket. But updates stop the moment the missile goes terminal. Terminal phase starts when the seeker takes over. This is where the real problem lives, and where a two-mode seeker stops being a luxury. Mode 1. Active radar. The missile lights up its own X-band or Q-band transmitter, scans the basket, and looks for a return that matches a warship signature. Radar is the workhorse because it doesn't care about cloud cover, doesn't care about night, and it ranges and Dopplers in one return. You get position, closing rate, and a rough cross-section in a single dwell. But radar is loud. The moment your seeker transmits, every electronic support measure in the battle group hears you. The carrier's escorts know a missile is in terminal, and they have seconds to respond. Their response is jamming, chaff, and decoys. A modern carrier group can put up an RF picture that contains the carrier, 3 credible false carriers, and a wall of broadband noise across your seeker's band. This is where the single-mode radar seeker starts to break. It can range gate, it can Doppler filter, it can frequency hop, but it's still solving a discrimination problem with one sensor modality. Sometimes, it picks the decoy. Mode 2. Imaging infrared. A focal plane array in the nose, looking at the thermal scene through a sapphire or zinc sulfide window, building a pixel image of whatever the radar handed it. Imaging IR doesn't transmit. It's passive. The escorts don't hear it light up because there's nothing to hear, and it sees shape, not just a radar blob. That shape information is what kills the decoy problem. A chaff cloud doesn't look like a ship in IR. A corner reflector doesn't have a flight deck. A jammer can't paint a thermal silhouette of an island superstructure. So you fuse them. Radar finds the basket, narrows to candidate contacts, hands off coordinates to the IR seeker. The IR seeker images each candidate and picks the one that matches a stored carrier template. That handoff is the single hardest piece of software on the missile. The two sensors have different fields of view, different update rates, different coordinate frames, and the missile is closing at 300 meters per second while the math has to converge. And it's why a two-mode seeker doesn't cost twice what a one-mode seeker costs. It costs 5 or 10 times more. The hardware is 2 stacks. The integration, testing, and qualification is exponentially harder. Now, layer in the third leg, GPS and INS through the entire flight. INS gives you a continuous state estimate. GPS bounds the INS drift. Together, they keep the missile in the basket even when the seeker is blind. Against a peer adversary, GPS is jammed. Assume your GPS is dead the moment the missile crosses the threat ring. INS alone will drift, and that drift compounds across the cruise phase. Modern missiles compensate with celestial navigation, terrain-aided navigation over land legs, and tighter ring laser gyros. But on a long overwater shot, the seeker still has to recover position from a worse starting estimate. Let's run a real example. LRASM, the long-range anti-ship missile carried on B-1s and Super Hornets. Range past 500 kilometers, subsonic dual-mode seeker, data link capable, designed explicitly for the GPS-denied carrier engagement problem. LRASM's seeker logic is the textbook version of what we just walked through. Passive RF for emitter targeting first, active radar for ranging when needed, imaging IR for terminal aim point selection on the ship itself. Aim point matters. A hit on the bow above the waterline is a bad day for the carrier. A hit at the base of the island into the flight deck is a mission kill. The seeker decides which. That aim point selection is pure imaging IR work. The radar can't resolve it. The INS doesn't know it. Only the focal plane array in the last few seconds picks the pixel. Now the trade-offs. When is this stack the wrong answer? 3 failure modes worth naming. First, weather. Imaging IR degrades in heavy rain, dense fog, and thick marine layer. If the engagement geometry forces you through a weather front, your second mode is gone and you're back to a single-mode radar shot. Second, hypersonic terminal velocity. Above Mach 5, aerothermal heating on the nose cone makes a transparent IR window very hard. This is why most hypersonic anti-ship designs go radar only or rely on a different seeker concept entirely. Third, swarm economics. A 2-mode seeker is expensive enough that you can't afford to throw 50 of them at one target. Sometimes 10 cheap radar-only missiles, accepting decoy losses, is the right answer over 2 exquisite ones. The decision criteria roughly: how dense is the ECM environment, how denied is the GPS spectrum, how survivable does each round need to be, and how many shots does the doctrine assume per engagement? Put it all together. Cruise phase keeps the missile in a shrinking basket. Mid-course updates shrink it more. Terminal phase is where radar, IR, and INS all have to agree on which pixel on which ship is the aim point. Everything before terminal is logistics. The engineering fight is the last 40 kilometers, the last 12 seconds, the last frame on the focal plane array. That's where the carrier is hit or missed. If you want more of this, mechanism-level breakdowns of the weapons that define modern naval warfare, subscribe to WarTech Engineering. More like this every week.